Hey everybody, it's Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 7's Goblins. We're looking at all the teams in Blood Bowl at the moment, whether it's the 2020 rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or the NAF expanded teams, and we're putting together some of the most fun rosters for Blood Bowl 7s. Blood Bowl 7s is a quick play variant of Blood Bowl, smaller pitch, smaller teams, smaller time. Basically, you can get a game done in about 45 minutes. Love 7s. If you want to know more about it, check out our video with an intro to 7s, or we've got 2 seasons of 7s recorded, 7 Super Series. You can go watch that. It is 2016 rules, but we will be filming in 2021 as soon as we are legally allowed, which is very exciting. So today we're going to be looking at Goblin rosters. Goblins are really cool. So the Goblins themselves are really good, and they come with lots of positionals to choose, so we should have some fun rosters today. So we got it right up there. Strengths for this team is that Goblins themselves are a strength. So coming in at 40k apiece, movement 6, strength 2. Doesn't sound so great so far, but they are dodge and stunty and right stuff, which means you can throw them, and it means they're dodging everywhere forever on a 3+ with a reroll, unless there are Croxigors. Anyway, the point is that in 7s, there's less players on the pitch. You end up with a little bit more space, and these players where they've got that 3+ with a reroll dodge, they can run through places they shouldn't be able to run through. There's always a chance when you have Goblins, whether it's jumping into a cage on a 3+ with a reroll to have a 2-die up block. We've done a video on that. It works more often than you'd think. Or just breaking out through some tackle zones for the touchdown. Goblins are fast. They are faster than you think. Backed up, these guys have got the Pogoer and the Doom Diver. Now, whether you're going to be throwing or just maneuvering, they both give you a ton of flexibility. They give you a really fast scoring threat. That Pogo with movement 7 and leap means they're going to be really difficult to stop. They are just a cheeky 3+ from being 2 squares away, and that diver, if you throw him with a teammate, I think we calculated this, basically you get like a 17 square potential travel. So 6 throw, 3 scatter, 6 more run, and then 2 go for it. Yeah, 17 squares. So the diver gives you an incredible one-turn touchdown opportunity. Now the downside of this team is that you get no skills. There's no block, there's no sure hands, there's no ball skills. What you do have is you've got a ton of dodge, which is awesome. Strength is limited. The whole team is strength 2 with the exception of the trolls. So everybody basically is going to be out bashing them. That's okay, because you're willing to take that dodge and just get away. And the last thing is the positional limit actually hurts Goblins a little bit. So in 7s you are allowed up to 4 positionals. So that's 4 players that aren't linemen. Everybody else has to be a lineman. And in a team here where you've got 5, 6, 7 different positionals to choose from, it means you kind of your builds get limited. They get more focused. But that is the point of 7s. So it kind of does make sense. Anyway, you get a ton of stuff to choose with Goblins. It's kind of like choose your poison. So let's have a look at some of the rosters. First up, we've got the 2 Trolls Saw reroll build. So this one comes in at 590. You get 2 Trolls, a Saw, and a reroll, backed up with 5 Goblins. So you have 8 players on this team, but one of them is a secret weapon. One alternate build you can do is you can drop one of your 5 Goblins. That takes you down to just 7 players on the team, and take a bribe instead. So in a 7s game, you're normally looking at least sort of 3 drives. So having that bribe means you're going to end up with a chainsaw for 2. You're going to lose that bench, so it's really down to you whether or not you want to have the chainsaw for 2 drives, or just use the chainsaw for 1 and then have a Goblin ready to go to back it up. Also, having a Goblin on the bench is not bad either. So the point of this roster is you get a ton of strength. Trolls are not brilliant in offense when it comes to 7s, really stupid, and their movement 4 kind of makes them struggle. They are, however, fantastic on defense, because 2 trolls on your line of scrimmage, your opponent's got to come through them. You can preempt where they're going. You can make sure that a Goblin's buddying up with either of them, and then when you need to trundle over to punch something in the face, your troll's right there. Also, they do pretty well with strong arm, and Goblins make really good paratroopers, so in 7s especially. So you can just use your trolls to chuck a Goblin over the other side of their line of scrimmage and just cause havoc in the backfield. Real strong potential there for a ball steal. Now, take the chainsaw out of it, you end up with a 2 troll, 5 goblin, and a reroll. So you kind of got a little bit of consistency in the reroll. You use it for when you really need it each half, maybe a bit of ball handling, maybe a really optimum blitz, and it gives you a ton of stuff. What it also gives you is that chainsaw, which is great for blitzing, especially because rolling a 1 on your kickback test no longer is a turnover, so you can freely use that chainsaw. Now, I love blitzing with the chainsaw. It's actually really good odds, and in 7s you're going to come across a lot of fast teams and a lot of fast players, and those fast players, generally speaking, have very low armor, so it's quite often a better opportunity to go and blitz with a chainsaw against a player that's armor 8+ who has the ball, because they're going down and that ball's coming out and you've got a ton of players in reserve. So I like this roster quite a lot. Next up, we've got 2 Troll PD. So this roster comes in at 565, so it gives you a little bit of cash to play with. I recommend assistant coaches. 2 Trolls, a Pogo, a Diver, backed up by 5 Goblins. That's a ton of players. Let me check that one out really quickly. So the cool thing about this roster, which it does actually have 9 players, is that it has 9 players. So you've got both of your scoring threats backed up by both of your big guys here, and you've got a ton of Goblins in reserve. So you can't quite drop enough. Can you drop enough? You can take 2 Goblin linemen out. That doesn't quite give you enough to get the reroll, does it? No, because that comes in at 605. That's why you've got 9 Goblins. So you could drop one of your positionals and 2 Goblins, run just 7 players, and then take a reroll here. However, Pogo is your reserve ball carrier and also a pretty useful blitzer. You've got that leap. However, your rest of your team's got dodge stunty. So if you're going to go into a hole, into tackle zones, this is a pretty decent way to do it. The strength of the Pogo here is that it's movement 7, so pretty jolly fast. When it comes to the Diver is just such a superb throw teammate option. Like I said at the beginning of the video, 17 squares is its kind of limit. That's amazing. That's insane. That's really, really good in 7s. Downside, it doesn't have dodge. So in 7s, these guys are going to be tier 3, and you're going to have maybe 2, maybe 3 skills, probably 3, and probably one of them is going to be a double. The Diver has to get dodge. The Pogo can have a ton of stuff. In fact, if you've got 1 double skill, yeah, it's really tough. Maybe sure hands on the Pogo would be pretty useful, at least just to be the person who picks up the ball and then hands it off. Movement 7 is going to give you a lot of space to work with, and anytime you can give Trolls block is pretty useful. However, if you've got the Diver, strong arm on a Troll, it's a regular skill, so normal skill, so it won't cost any of your doubles, and it just means that you are maximizing the opportunity there with the Diver. And if the Diver dies, you've still got a really good throw teammate option for the rest of your Goblins to play Paratrooper. So, ton of options here. This is potentially the most scoring roster we've got. I mean, the Pogo is a threat by itself. The Diver just absolutely combos with the Troll beautifully. And then you've got 5 Goblins in reserve. Slight change for this roster is you can drop a Troll and take a reroll. So 1 Troll, 1 Pogo, 1 Diver, 5 Goblins, and that reroll. You lose out on a Troll, but you gain that reroll to pull it off. So this is kind of a one-shot kind of team. You've got the Troll, you've got the Diver. If you've got the ball, you've got 1 reroll, you've got a pretty good shot at that cheeky 1-turn touchdown. The rest of the time you're going to be kind of punching above your weight a little bit. Having 2 Trolls makes your defense solid. Having 1 Troll gives you options, but you're going to have to be relying on that Troll to move around to cover the gap, because your opponent is going to have quite an easy time punching through all your Goblins. So having 1 Troll means you kind of have to use him as a giant linebacker, and with 4 movement he is going to struggle to cover the whole pitch by himself. But what this does do is it gets you that all-important reroll. So if you want to go for a kind of combo list, if you're the kind of Goblin coach that just loves one big play, this will probably be the one for you in 7s. Talking of Goblin coaches, there are definitely some Goblin coaches out there that love Goblins because they love secret weapons. I'm probably one of those coaches. So this roster, you get a ton of stuff. You get a real feel for Goblins. This is definitely subpar, and you are punching above your weight, but you are going to have a great time while you do it. So the max weapon build in 7s comes in bang on 600. You get 1 Pogo player, so you've got a ball carrier, you've got somebody who's movement 7 that can do stuff. You get 1 bomber, So you can throw bombs around and blow stuff up. You get a chainsaw, so you can chop people up. Effective blitzer, really effective fowler. And you get a fanatic. So the fanatic isn't great in 7s. However, if you've got a skill spare, taking grab on the fanatic is going to make him more likely to be able to repeatedly punch up players. Movement 3 is pretty short, and in a 7s pitch you're going to struggle to funnel your players. You don't have the line of slaughter you see in 7s because you start 6 squares apart, so that fanatic is going to be less useful. It is still great fun. This is backed up with 5 goblins, 1 reroll and a bribe as well. So you can go to town here on deploying these guys. On defense, the fanatic is going to be pretty useful, but you could rock your chainsaw and your fanatic on defense and just use that bribe to bring the chainsaw back, and then on the next drive you've got the chainsaw. You can probably bench it, take the pogo when you're take the bomber when you're on offense and just throw the bombs and destroy stuff. Skills wise, you can have a great time here. If you end up with a double, you don't have a big guy to give it to, so Hail Mary pass on the bomber is going to be great fun for you because you're just going to be bombing the heck out of the opponent. Chainsaws, getting dodge is always pretty useful. It helps keep them alive a little bit. Dirty player might not be bad if you've got a double for the chainsaw, because then you're +4 to break their armor on a cheeky foul. Fanatic, tricky one. Mighty blow is going to help you keep players down, but grab is going to help you keep punching players. So definitely some options here. If you like the secret weapon element of goblins, take this one. And if you want to change it up a little bit, you can, for example, drop the reroll and upgrade one of your weapons to a troll. Or you can go the simple way. So 590, you get the 2 troll army. You get 2 trolls backed up by 6 goblins and a reroll. So this is vanilla goblins, basically. You've got those 2 trolls. They're going to be reasonable on defense, and you're going to absolutely maximize your opportunity for throw teammate. Not with the diver though, but you do have that reroll instead. This is the roster for you if you've got some trolls and you've got a box of goblins and you don't have the secret weapons. You are still going to be able to do a ton of stuff. You can paratroop with the goblins, you can go for the 1-turn touchdown. It's not going to be as effective without the diver, but it's still going to be comparable, and you've got that reroll to help as well. So I like this as kind of like a mixed option. It's not as specialized as the pogo diver build, but you get an extra goblin for the bench basically. In 7s, you can take between 7 and 11 players. So the max gobs reroll build, max is out on your gobs. That's 600k. You get the pogo to score, the bomber to bomb, the chainsaw to murder, and 8 goblins in reserve backed up with a reroll. So you get the pogo and 8 goblins. That's a team of 9, and you've got the reroll there. You can also just blow stuff up and chainsaw things as well. This is a manic goblin roster. You will never be short of players, which means you can maximize. You can do the fouling, you can follow up fouling with a chainsaw, you can bomb some stuff up. This is just going to be classic goblin carnage. 2 troll PD though is the roster that I would choose if I was running goblins. Historically, goblins, especially in the last edition, focused very heavily on keeping the TV low and using star players. You don't get star players in 7s, and your TV is already low. Ignore the fact that it says 1000 at the top, it's actually 590 or something. Don't worry about that. You do get 2 trolls, and a pogo, and a diver, and 5 goblins as well. So you've got 2 bench, 1 flying scoring threat. The pogo is a great defensive player and offensive player. Movement 7 is going to be great, and that leap is going to get you out of dodge sometimes, because sometimes it's just better to roll a 3+ once than it is to roll it twice. So this roster, you get a goblin experience, but you are playing Blood Bowl. There are no secret weapons, there are no star players. This is goblins trying to win a game of Blood Bowl. You've got some reasonable scoring opportunity here, and you've got some stunty shenanigans. Yeah, you don't have a reroll, you don't have skills, but what you do have are spare players. So actually, it's not the worst thing in the world to just go and suicide a goblin into a cage and take a 2-die up. Worst case scenario, the goblin dies, and you've got 2 more on the bench that can come out. So basically, you can afford to suicide goblins into situations, and you've got 2 trolls to anchor your line, to anchor your defense. Okay, there's 11 squares on a Blood Bowl pitch. 2 of those have got a troll in. That means there's 9 squares, which means you go through, 2 on the side, 4 in the middle, 2 over there, 5 in the middle, whatever. You can spread those trolls, backfill with goblins, and you've got a reasonably good way to counter wherever your opponent drives. And worst case scenario, stunty 3+ dodging is fantastic. So you've got trolls, you've got big guys, you've got mighty blow, you've got stunty dodging, you've got pogo jumping around, and you've got diver scoring. I love this roster. I think if you want to play Blood Bowl with goblins, this is your Huckleberry, I really think. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of this roster in the comments below. All the goblin rosters, I'm a big fan of all of them. They've all got an angle. I do like goblins. They're good. They're way better than you think. And anyway, I'm going to disappear. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.